Good afternoon and welcome to Padre's Ponderings.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Beautiful day in the low country. Praise God. Praise God. You've been bouncing around this morning?
I've been bouncing around this morning. Got a lot of irons in the fire. Good stuff.
So you got your name tag on so everybody knows when you walk in the room.
Put my name tag on so I can
up, huh?
remember I'm a professional today.
Professional today. So you got a lot going on campus then?
Yes, I was over at the school campus and got to touch base with a couple of the faith formation people. We have a new employee that I'll have to announce on social media this week and in the e-news, Rebecca Andrews. She'll have to sit here one day.
I talked about that.
Did you?
About her one time.
Well, I wasn't here. It could have been with somebody else.
Might have been.
Could have been with somebody else.
Yeah,
So,
we need to get her to come in. She and her husband were at church on Sunday on the historic campus, 10 o'clock.
So, and she's going to start helping with Cross Point in February, a couple of weeks out of the month in February. But January, we told her, take an opportunity to go and see all that we're doing. And she made a comment today that she said, I could fill up my calendar with just things going on at the Church of the Cross. Like,
That's
this is
exactly
true.
right.
This
There's
is
a lot
true.
happening.
So she's coming to the women's event next Friday, right here.
And how's that? Do they sign up in advance for that, don't they?
We started registration for it back in November, but as is
Gosh, that's pretty far out.
typical, well, it was an early bird special.
Oh,
It's cheaper. Earlier you sign up. Then, but as typical with human nature, people are really signing up now.
it's wonderful.
So we have about 120 women signed up.
So that's next Friday
The
night?
27th, Friday night's going to be in the chapel. We have a group called Praise 3. Barb Reddy and two of her really good friends are going to be leading worship time here in the chapel. We have the first session with our guest speaker, Jody Nolan from Atlanta. And then on Saturday morning, we'll meet at the school. And we'll have tables set up. We have a barista coming from the grind. That's exciting.
Is that for breakfast or
It's
for
for
lunch?
breakfast, and at 8:30, doors open, and coffee and just some little pickup foods and things. And then we have lunch, a couple of sessions, more music.
So
It's exciting. Two days.
Yeah, the barista thing first.
Just
you
for
have-
people to have morning coffee.
All right, then you have one session or two sessions?
I cannot remember off the top of my head, but there'll be a couple of songs, probably two sessions, lunch, more music, another session, and then we'll end at 3:30.
That's going to be a power-packed 24 hours there, isn't it?
It is, and a beautiful thing is the men of the cross, because this is a women's event, the men of the cross are going to be helping us with setup.
Whoa.
So when you're setting up tables in the gym, we're kind of limited on when we can get into the gym, and it's a lot of manpower. So we so appreciate Rod Musselman kind of helping to organize, getting men to help out with that.
So she
Big
was
stuff.
at the 10 o'clock service, Rebecca, and she liked that. And Andy was preaching this
Yeah,
weekend.
I heard that. I heard he did a great
Yeah,
job.
he did a good job. Did a good job. Glad to see him up there, and he did a good job.
We have a staff meeting tomorrow at the counseling center so that the staff can kind of
I walked
check it
through it
out.
last Thursday, I think it was. I was over there with something with Andy, and it
looks
looks really
good.
nice.
Yeah, it looks really good. So excited about all of that kicking off.
And they got a sign coming sometime for the front out
Ordered
there.
the sign to match all of the campus signs that we have, and so things are falling into place. He's doing a lot of digging on insurance and all of the billing type questions that are completely new.
And that kind of work he's doing now is all foundation, and the house is only as good as the foundation it's sitting on, and so all of that infrastructure takes time, but once it's there, it's there.
Right.
So, Kim Wilhite is working with all that, and people at God's Goods and other places, and but once that's done, we ain't got to keep doing it over and over again.
Exactly.
So we can focus on people then. Now it's all about physical plant and preparations So that will be all about people. That's great.
I've had numerous conversations with people in the church and outside of the church that are very excited about the addition of more counseling in this area because the need is only growing with all ages.
And the difference is this is professional,
Christian,
credentialed counseling by Christian people. It's not just well-intentioned Christians trying to help people through a hard time.
No, this is professional. Right.
So it's notches it up a whole nother level. And the combination of both makes it great. Makes it great. So what else is happening?
So that's a lot right there.
That's a lot.
Holy honey is arriving right now and being unloaded. We've got so many things coming up. And we say that a lot because when you're a parish this large, there is a lot going on because there's a lot of people and a lot of needs to meet.
I watched last Wednesday night, Tom.
Father Tom will be here tomorrow night.
And then we got tomorrow night here.
Second session.
And next Wednesday night as well. And then Andy teaches in February. So that's good too. I kind of sat around yesterday with your mom. We didn't do a whole lot.
That's
Just
okay.
Monday. On Mondays we usually eat twice.
Do you know that's okay?
I wrote a few notes from
Okay.
to go out. But on Mondays we usually get up late and we have kind of a brunch kind of deal there, and then we'll eat about 4:30 in the afternoon. Works out good. You know what we had yesterday? We had cheeseburgers. Your mom made meatloaf on Sunday.
The day before. That was delicious too, by the way. I got to partake in that.
Yep. So the week before, we decided we wanted to have cheeseburgers. So she went down to Five Guys and Fries and got cheeseburgers. She got a little one and I got a big one and French fries. Almost $25. Whoa. So this Monday, she said, let's have cheeseburgers made out of meatloaf.
Oh my gosh.
And that was delightful. And
That's your kind of meal.
didn't use hamburger buns, did regular white bread, and she had found some tater tots in the freezer instead of French fries.
You enjoyed your day off.
Well, it was good. I liked it. And then she had a thing of custard pie. She sent some of that over to y'all too.
Yeah, she did.
Each of us had a slice of that before the day was over with. Yeah, that was good. And we watched a little bit of Tom Brady and
the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys, yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
So my husband is a Cowboys fan. Has been since the 70s. Roger Staubach and
Oh yeah.
I mean, in the 90s when they won how many Super Bowls in the 90s?
A lot
It
of
was
them.
back to back. He didn't watch it last night. He's like, I'm going to wake up because they do this all the time. I'm going to wake up and they're going to disappoint me and they're going to lose the playoff game, and they do it every year. So this morning he's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, whoa.
Yes, sir, Ray. We watched the first quarter of that. And old Dak Prescott was rolling now. And Tom Brady couldn't
Was
get
not.
it going.
Yeah.
No, I think they were up 13-14. Something
It was like
that.
31 to 14 or something
but
was the final.
It was like 12-0 when we went to bed.
Yeah.
But they were playing really good. So who knows where all the playoff stuff goes. But your mom pulls for Trevor Lawrence.
I think everybody, not everybody, a lot of people in South Carolina are pulling for the Jacksonville Jaguars right
Sir,
now.
Ray. And
Because that was impressive.
Yes,
Comeback.
Amazing. Yeah, she pulls for him, and she pulls for the quarterback for the Bengals.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Yep, Joe.
Yep.
She likes him. So she turned into quite a football fan here.
I don't know. I don't know if people realize. Well, Monday's your day off, supposed to be, but
Depends on what's happening.
depends on what's happening. What you do on every Sunday afternoon and Monday. I'm gonna show you. Because I just had a conversation with somebody about these. So every service, you guys talk about Connect Card. If you're new visiting, we'd love to get to know you. And then people probably don't realize what happens to these Connect cards.
You know, back of us,
On the back of it, there's prayer request. So the
and
prayer
people
request.
watching online have the Connect tab, and they have a prayer tab, right?
Yes. So on these go to you from all campuses, and you write a handwritten note to everyone who visits our church and fills out a card. You have to fill out a card because otherwise we don't know.
Their first-time visitor, I write them a note, yep. And they come from all around. And so I'll usually, if I'm on, like I was on the historic campus, so yesterday afternoon I had the visitor cards. I picked them up, had them given to me after the services Saturday and Sunday. So I had those to work with. And then Monday, all the stuff comes in. And so from here, Cross Point and Chapel, those visitor cards go to Sue, and then she scanned the visitor cards that belonged to me and sent them over to me. And so I wrote notes yesterday and mailed them out.
Which is so nice, because getting a handwritten note now is really, it stands out because people don't take the time.
Yep.
We do more texting and email and that kind of stuff.
And I
So
think
I've always appreciated that.
And I think
you
that
do
does
that.
make catch people off guard when they get a handwritten note. Yeah, I write a lot of notes for different things. But that's an important one. You know, and a lot of times people will come for a while before they'll even fill out a visitor card. They'll try different services, and they just want to check it out. How does it feel?
Anonymously.
Yeah. Get a feel for what's the rhythm of it, week after week after week in different places and all that. And so they're just anonymous for a while, then they'll fill out a card, see what happens with that. So, yeah, that's real important. And we got a lot of responses. With a lot of folks. Over 200 last year that joined. That's big. And this service, the chapel service had the most number of new members that came in last year were from Cross Point, because that's the biggest service, you'd expect that. The next most number came from the chapel. If I remember right, there were 67 new members joined last year from the chapel.
Wow.
That was their place where they filled out the card from. And it was 90-something from Cross Point. And y'all had a big crowd at Cross Point. I was on the historic
We did.
campus.
Jason's here helping with technology while Charlie's in Africa. He sent me pictures of giraffes.
Well,
And we were just talking about, we had over 500 in the gym. That's not including Sunday school and the children and nursery and all of that. But just in service, we had over 500 this past Sunday, which is amazing and fantastic for a regular Sunday, not an Easter or Christmas or something like that. So I sent a message to the crew that sets up chairs and asked them to please add 64 more chairs.
wonderful.
Because there's a statistic on that. If a space appears 80% full, then when new people come in, visitors come in, they don't feel like there's a place for them. So we have to continuously stay on top of that.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. And then this Sunday here and at Cross Point, we have a visitor.
We do. We have a special guest coming from Charleston, South Carolina, the Citadel, Rob Sturdy. Reverend Rob Sturdy will be at the chapel and at Cross Point. He was gracious enough to come and help us out one Sunday while Nathan is away for a little bit. So looking forward to having him. He's been here 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And brought his
We've had
his group from Charleston, from the Citadel, 100 cadets one weekend.
retreat or something. Yeah.
So looking forward to having him join us again. He's a fantastic preacher.
Yeah, Rob's a good man. Really is.
And his ministry, I hope he's going to share a little bit about that at both services. The impact and the ministry that he has at the Citadel is amazing. It really is. Sometimes I watch his Facebook live stream. I think it's Monday or Tuesday evening service in the Summerall Chapel.
And they stream that?
He streams it. And his musician is one of your former students, Trip Kuhn.
Oh. great. Yeah, Tripp was a real special fellow.
So he's a part of that ministry. So a lot of good stuff going on, not
Well,
just
so
here, but in the diocese.
Is Tripp doing what his father used to do? Working with technology and stuff?
I'm not sure what his vocation is, but I do know that he's involved in the ministry with Rob.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And I believe St. Andrews, maybe. Is that the church connected? Mount Pleasant?
St. Andrews,
maybe?
Mount Pleasant. Good.
Yeah.
Great.
So, good stuff. All right, so you're not preaching this weekend, and you
No, I'll be here with Rob.
You'll be here with Rob assisting.
Then I'll be preaching the next weekend.
And what's your sermon on?
And the next weekend I'll start historic. And that's on making sinners into saints.
We all need to hear that.
Yes, we do. Preaching on Jephthah from the book of Judges. Jephthah. So I'm looking forward to that. And we need to get, did you make a thing for the loop for Rob Sturdy?
I have not, but I can.
No, not the loop. The sermon slide or something. The thing you use that goes on in news to let people know about that. Yeah, making sinners into saints. It'll be good. I'm sure it will be. I reread it. I've got it finished. So are you reading anything?
Actually, on Saturday.
Well, on Saturday.
On Saturday. I've been putting it off, and I finally sat down on Saturday. It was cold, so we had the fireplace going. I sat down, and I'm determined to finish this book. It's only 120 pages. It was C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce.
You're reading that for a course that you're taking?
I'm doing an online training thing, and that's the first assignment is to read that. So I've had it on the bedside table, and I keep falling asleep, so I'm determined. I'm not as big of a C.S. Lewis fan as Pastor Jonathan. Don't tell him that, but so I was kind of...
Got through it.
I had to do it. And I did. And it was a very good book.
Good.
Very good. It is actually really interesting to ponder after the fact of what we hold on to so tightly here. And in the book, it's a trip from hell to heaven, and what keeps people from embracing salvation and glory. And it's the stupidest stuff. It's the dumbest things that we can't let go of.
I'm just about to finish now The White Ship. And it's about Henry I, how he comes to power in England, and all the battles and stuff that goes on in there, And his big push is uniting all the different counties of England and across the channel in Normandy, all that area over there.
Right, because they were connected.
And then having an heir. And so finally, he has an heir. William is the child's name. And so William is beautiful, and all this. And everybody just thinks he's amazing. So over in France, they go over there for something or another, battle, knights, all these people that are his leadership team, all that, and the boys there and everything. And so they're all fixing to go back to England, leaving on the ships. And so the ship that he gets on is called the White Ship, and it's the big, glorious, the biggest one.
Henry gets on?
No, Henry gets on the other ship.
Okay, William.
And so Henry takes off with his fellows ahead of time, the son and all the dukes and all that. And the treasure of England is on the White Ship. Well, they piddle around waiting on the winds and the tide to change and all that, and they all get looped. I mean, absolutely stoned, including the navigator and all the rest of it. The White Ship heads out of the harbor, and there's this known big rock formation out there. They crashed into that rock formation. We're talking about December. They crashed into that rock formation, and that whole thing goes down. Everybody dies except for one man who was a butcher. And he was from France, He's on that white ship because so many of those people in there owe him money, and he knows if they get back to England, they're never going to pay him. So he gets on that ship to go with them. And he survives because he's wearing leather clothes. He doesn't have on all the fancy stuff. And he catches a hold to a mast that falls in there and gets up on top of it out of the freezing water. He's the only survivor in the thing. Henry, here's his heir, here's everything he's hoped for. The treasure, gone. And so then it just starts to go apart, you know. And so now I'm in this area where they're all trying to figure out what's going to happen. We've lost all the leadership in England and France, and how are we going to recover all of this? And then he dies, and he has no heir. So his wife, is she going to be the one? You know, distant cousins, a lot of intrigue, a lot of people killing each other, all that kind of stuff. And now it's emerged who might be the next one. And he is a nephew who is in France, and he is married to Eleanor of Aquitaine. And he will become Henry II.
I love that. What's that great movie?
The Lion in Winter.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Peter O'Toole and
Katharine Hepburn?
Katharine Hepburn, that's right. Yep. But that's about it.
Oh, you're going to have to watch that now.
Yeah, I'll
That's
have
going
to
to
watch
have to be
it.
your
Watch
next
it again,
Sunday
but,
movie.
you know, they're fixing to get married now, and she's a good
That
bit
was a
older.
rough time.
She's a good bit older than he is, about 10 years, something like that. And so they have a bunch of children, sons and daughters. And then they have a big falling out, and then he puts her in exiles her in a castle or something like that. And he comes to visit her every now and then. But the movie's about, I want to say he comes to see her every Christmas, maybe, something like that. Anyway, it's about that. And he knows he's going to be dying, so who's going to take over? And he's got one of his sons picked out, and she doesn't like that. So it is.
Yeah, they're constantly fighting in that movie.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, it's a neat time in history, but I'm ready for it to get sorted out now.
Moving right along.
Whoa. One of the things that they do with people, if the Lord or somebody doesn't keep his word, they just blind them.
It's terrible.
Don't kill them, they blind them.
Yeah, when you read about the cruelty in history, it makes you wonder how only by the providence of God that we're here.
For treason, death is too easy. You blind the person. Boom. Gracious goodness. Anyway, that's another story. That's a good book, and I'll finish that up. And then I got another book coming on Stephen A. Smith, the sports.
Yes.
He's written
ESPN.
a biography. He's written a biography. And
he's a character.
yeah, he really is. So I'm
Very
looking forward to
outspoken
getting that. It
character.
just came out.
Yeah, to hear
and
what his history is.
And he came from a really rough, hard childhood. And his mother made him promise that he would not write anything about growing up until she had died.
Oh, and she's passed.
And she has passed. So it's taken him a year to write the book, but he got the book written. So I'm going to read about Stephen A. Smith. I got another book coming on Bear Bryant, too. No, it's not on Bear Bryant. It's by the author of the book on Bear Bryant. And it's about Wyatt Earp.
Oh.
The true story of Wyatt Earp, as opposed to the myths.
Which there are many.
Many. And the legends.
Yes.
There's some saying somewhere along the line that when truth and legend coexist for a while, after a while truth disappears and legend becomes truth, you know. So somehow or another this fellow's going to crack the code from the legend and get back to what the truth is. And he probably was a scoundrel like a lot of those fellows were. So, like, you know, that we've had a lot of fellows that were presidents and all that. And there's the legend,
And when you
then
learn
there's
the rest of the
reality.
story, you're like, oh, okay.
Yep, and there is the rest of the story.
That's humanity.
Yep, that's humanity.
Yeah.
Good point. That's humanity.
Something coming up that I'm going to put in the e-news this week is that his radio from Savannah is going to be doing a food-a-thon at our food bank.
Really?
January 31st. It's a Tuesday. I don't think they've ever done a food bank in Bluffton. They typically have most of them in Savannah, but they have picked our food bank, and so they'll be broadcasting from, the radio station will be broadcasting from the Mission Mall God's Goods area that day. Anybody, they'll be televised and drop off these goods, and they'll give the address, and
So
anybody can
they're not
bring
doing it
food.
while the food bank is giving out food.
They're doing it on a
On
Tuesday.
a Tuesday, so you don't have all that crowd of people getting food there.
I stopped by the food bank yesterday. I needed to grab something from that building, and it was nice to be over there. I'm not over there on Mondays very often, and it's been a little while. And to see, I talked to Diane Craven, who heads up and leads the God's Gifts side, where all of the items that we don't sell at God's Goods come down on Mondays, and it's free. I walked in, and it was like a store. It was amazing, and the amount of people in there shopping. One gentleman is homeless, and it's been cold at night, so he was just gathering up layers to put on, and it was really amazing to see, and everybody putting in I couldn't find a parking place. I mean, it was packed.
That's wonderful.
It was just a tremendous thing to see all of the volunteers in action, and the people coming, and the smiling faces, and leaving with something they need.
Yeah.
Not just food,
And Craig
clothing,
Padre
home.
organized the food bank part of it. Diane has the God's Goods part of it.
God's Gifts, yes.
God's Gifts, yeah.
Yeah, in conjunction with God's Goods. So that was really great to see. So listen on January 31st to his radio, and you'll hear about the food bank, which is exciting.
Wonderful. And then people come from all around to bring food. Is
People
that the idea?
can come from all around and just drop off food. I know.
Good thing.
Beautiful thing. Last week in the e-news and on social media, we posted the numbers from the food bank, how many hundreds of thousands of pounds of food were donated from like second helpings, and how much our parishioners and people in the community have donated, how many families were served this year. 10,000 families last year.
Whoa.
10,000 families were given food last year in Bluffton.
Gee
Beaufort
whiz.
County. 10,000.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah. So, a lot of good stuff coming on.
So
Going on.
keep bringing food to the worship services and whatever.
Please bring food to the worship services, all campuses, and people go around on Mondays and collect and take it straight over to the food bank. Tremendous needs right now, for sure.
Any particular needs that you're aware of?
I have not opened the email. I saw it, but I haven't opened it. But look at the loop at services and in the e-news this week to see what the needs are. So,
Great.
all right. Any last point or nugget you would like to leave us with?
Nope. I'm nuggeted out.
You're nugget.
Nuggeted out.
All right. Well,
I
on that note.
I am doing nuggets, though. That's strange you should mention that in my sermon on making sinners into saints. I'll call the main points I want to take out nuggets. So nugget number 1 and nugget number 2 and nugget 3, and I think there's 4 nuggets in it. So,
Okay.
yep. So I'm good.
All right. Well, on that note, go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God. See you when I see you. God's peace and blessings to you, friends.